Yo, it's L.
Welcome to The Outer Gamer, a satirical look at gaming news and stories. E3 is officially dead. While we all sort of knew this, they recently dug it a grave and put a tombstone on it, officially declaring that E3 is dead. It was fun while it lasted, though. Well, except the last couple of years when we could all tell it was slowly dying. But Microsoft must be pretty happy because every time they went to E3, they embarrassed themselves. But Microsoft E3 moments are still more memorable than their first-party games. But speaking of memes, Steam Deck fumes. Apparently, people have been putting their nose up to their Steam Decks and inhaling the fumes. Valve did state, though, that this wasn't hazardous to your health at all. But it makes me wonder about some of the people who own Steam Decks. It's like they're the type of person who's going to discover what shamboiling is, and then that's going to be like the next big thing on TikTok, and the next generation of rappers are going to die young because they tried it. These are the kids whose parents in the 80s were probably the ones in school sniffing glue, sniffing markers, huffing gasoline. But speaking of things that might damage your brain, Starfield Modders find the game boring. Starfield is a cellular space adventure game where you load screens and view empty scenery. Apparently, modders have given up working on the game, saying that it's just too boring. Now, modding does add a lot to a game's replayability, but it shouldn't be on modders to make your game fun or interesting. Now, Starfield fans will argue you have to put at least 40 hours into the game to start having fun, and if they had common sense, they'd play another game and start having fun right away. That makes me think, since the game takes like 40 hours to beat, that means New Game Plus is when the game starts getting fun. I'm just gonna say what most people are thinking, if not already starting to say, but Starfield didn't live up to the hype. Now, for all the hardcore Bethesda fans, you can still be a fan of something, but still have feedback, thoughts, or even criticism of it. I've been a fan of Bethesda games for a very long time. I've played Elder Scrolls 1, 3, 4, 5, as well as Fallout 4 and Fallout 3. So I've lived through a lot of the legends you've only heard of. After Fallout 76 and Starfield, I feel like Bethesda's starting to slip, and it's pretty evident. I just really hope they do everything they can to course correct with the next Elder Scrolls game. But speaking of things that didn't live up to expectations, the Open Hand Foundation. So a lot of stuff has been going on with the Completionist recently. In short, he's a lot better at video games than he is at donating money. His mother unfortunately passed away due to a terrible disease, and in her memory, her family started the Open Hand Foundation, which was a charity that would raise money to help fight against dementia. It did so by accepting donations, and then letting the money sit in an account. Because that's how charities work. The money was not donated until Some Ordinary Gamer and Carl Yosp on YouTube pointed out that the money was sitting in an account. Maybe it's a bad idea to try and 100% a charity's funds, like you 100% a video game. But speaking of things people will be remembered for, Baldur's Gate 3 wins Game of the Year. Baldur's Gate 3 won Game of the Year, as it should have. It's laughable that anybody thought anything else even had a chance of winning. I had a friend say Final Fantasy 16 should have won. Funny how no one outside of the Final Fantasy fanbase ever says that. Since the PlayStation 2, Final Fantasy has become a mid-tier child's anime for people who watch anime and think it's cool not to watch anything else. Then mix that together with poor storytelling and boring gameplay, and you've got modern Final Fantasy. Now, Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions is undoubtedly the greatest Final Fantasy game ever made, and mathematically, that can be proven. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was winner for most anticipated game, But that's only because the GTA 6 trailer came out too late, and all the other good games are already here. Good luck explaining to a Final Fantasy fan the difference between hype for a game and the quality of a game. And I had another friend who said Super Mario Wonder should have won Game of the Year, on the basis that it was better than the Wii U Mario games. Now, I can confirm, Baldur's Gate 3 is also better than the Wii U Mario games. Super Mario Wonder did win Family Game of the Year, which I'm sure for people who wanted it to win Game of the Year, that's pretty much like winning a small battle, but still losing the war. And while I do plan on getting Super Mario Wonder, in terms of game design, gameplay, game content, anything and everything, Baldur's Gate 3 is a colossi compared to Super Mario Wonder. Like, I'm sure it's cool that you can turn into an elephant and stuff, but you know what you can turn into in Baldur's Gate 3? Dire Raven, Wolf, Bear, Spider, Panther, Deep, I don't know how to pronounce that, Saber-toothed Tigers, Elemental Myrmidons, figure that out, Dilophosaurus, Owlbear. Spider-Man 2 was nominated, and I played it. The main missions were usually going somewhere while you were talking to somebody, and mostly just fighting a bunch of enemies and occasionally fighting a boss, solving a puzzle, or doing some random task. And the side missions were usually fighting a bunch of enemies, solving a puzzle, collecting something, doing some task. And that was it. The story was good. And it was as long as the list of awards that this game won. Being nominated for 7 awards, Spider-Man 2 brought home 0. Which is the same amount of Gwen Stacy's that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man brought home at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2. Tears of the Kingdom was nominated, and I played that game too, which makes me wonder, why was it nominated? All the good, useful stuff I got turned out to be pretty useless by the time I got it. And everybody went crazy about you can build vehicles and these contraptions and all these cool things. And yeah, you can, and it's cool, but it runs out of energy after like 3 seconds. So you're better off walking at that point. I will say, the dungeons, they were a real highlight, but the rest of the game, even if it was good, it's not as good as Baldur's Gate 3. One thing that really made me mad in Tears of the Kingdom is how running cost energy. Like, it drains your stamina to run, which, this is an open world RPG fantasy game. The whole attraction is traversal and exploration, and it costs energy and stamina for me to run. It's like, you gotta be pretty dumb to put that in a modern game. Imagine if the next Need for Speed game came out, and you had to periodically stop to put gasoline in the car. You'd throw your controller at the TV. Baldur's Gate 3 was nominated for 8 awards. It did win Game of the Year, Best Performance, Best Community Support, Best RPG, Best Multiplayer. It also won Player's Choice for Game of the Year. I'm also giving it an award for Game of its Generation. And to be honest, I'm not too sure what generation that is, but whatever. Either nothing's going to be better, or if something comes along and is better, I'll enjoy that as well. So either way, I win. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time.